Origin Chance, and this is Are Crows OP by the channel TierZoo. Yeah, I think crows are OP, or the, what is it called? Crows family tree, whatever it's called, right? They're really smart. This is one of the things you learn as a kid. I mean, you don't learn, you just hear about stories, but yeah, when you realize that stories are not that far off, right? About crow throwing stones in water just to get to water. You think like, oh, this is one of those like animal stories that just makes you think about some certain being clever or morality or whatever. No, crows do that, right? There was a clip of kind of recent past few years where somebody actually filmed crow doing that, right? Throwing rocks into the bottle just so water can rise up. And a lot of things since that. I watched a lot of TierZoo videos and Casual Geographic videos where crows do a lot of things, right? They're insanely smart, right? If someone attacks a crow or something, I'm pretty sure their family will remember that area, house, family, whatever, right? The people who attacked them, and will try to avoid them or something. That's some next level shit. Crows are insanely smart when you realize it. And if humans are anything to go by, intelligence is the best thing there is. If you want to survive in this, let's just say, video game, how TierZoo says is in this meta or whatever, right? Developers have made intelligence really stronger compared to any other stat. So yeah, if you're intelligent, you're gonna survive. That's why some people even joke about, like, if humans die, right? Something like crows will take over probably. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Let's watch it. Remember, flag Rick and don't subscribe, so that way I know which type of videos to react to more. Check out the Rick Sunday, this link in the decision. And yeah, let's watch it.
They've already lost, they just don't know it. Hit him from behind! Stop looking at me! Attack! Save it for the enemy! We've lost control of the command post.
That was insane, man.
Primates are notorious for their incredibly broken intelligence stat, which grants them access to incredible advanced techniques such as tool use, coordinated team strategies, and even bartering and trade. But primates are not the only faction in the game with a high intelligence stat. Cetacean, cephalopod, and bird mains also commonly opt not to spec into powerful damage-dealing abilities, and instead invest into leveling up their brain power skill tree. While this does seem like a risky choice, leaving the player more vulnerable in direct 1v1 combat, in actuality this often results in a much less risky playthrough, as the player's intelligence opens up more options for them to progress that don't require winning in combat. This is especially true of the bird faction, as their ability to fly already allows them to quickly escape most unfavorable combat encounters. Today, we're going to discuss one of the two main
Okay, that cat sucks. How did that cat got, I don't know, like, bullied like that, right? Usually I think of cats as like, every time I see videos of cats, they're really finesse and like faster. How did that bird basically just like bullied cat?
Intelligence-centered bird builds, the faction that contains crows, ravens, and magpies, the Corvid. This video is going to focus mostly on crows as an example, but generally what I say in this video should apply to most corvids.
Not gonna lie, I don't realize much difference between crows and ravens, right? Sometimes I just mistakes them. Like, I'm pretty sure I've watched TierZoo video, but it's been so long, like, difference between crows and ravens, right? Oh, that's a raven. Oh, is it? I thought it was just crow. I don't know.
First, let's discuss their stats, as well as the abilities and strategies that exemplify them. We'll begin with their stealth stat, which corvids aren't particularly excellent in. The most popular corvid skins are either jet black or piebald, neither of which grant the user that strong of a stealth bonus. In fact, in snowy areas, jet black feathers are actually one of the least effective choices when trying to remain hidden.
Look, I don't know. I would like to think that the stealth is higher because of their intelligence and because they are, like, you know, black that way, right? I mean, I get it, like certain scenarios, gray is like more better to hide than black, right? If you want to hide something in somewhere in dark, it's usually like, you know, gray or darker blue somehow is better than the black itself, because black will stand out, right? You will never be in a pitch dark area. It doesn't matter what, some light source will be there, so even black can be seen, right? But crow being black like that and having higher intelligence, crow would know how to hide. Obviously not in icy areas, but most other places, right? So intelligence is not, stealth is kind of higher. because I don't see crows until like there are crows to be seen, right? One thing I realized just walking around anywhere, like it's not like there are no crows here, but I don't just see them anywhere just sitting or something. I'll see pigeons, a lot of things, but I'll see crows when they're in group, they want to be seen or something.
Dark appearance is most effective as camouflage at night, but crows and other corvids are not nocturnal builds, so they aren't really gaining this benefit from it. Now, granted, stealth typically isn't all that important for birds, given how agile and vigilant they are. Plenty of other high-tier avian builds, like for example parrots, are arguably some of the least stealthy birds in the game, and they do just fine. You could even argue that corvids are even less stealthy than their black feathers initially appear, as their iridescence actually makes them even easier to see for certain other players, typically other birds. Ultimately, I think it's safe to say stealth is not an important part of their game plan. At least nowhere near as important as it is for ambush predator builds, like the owl. The main predators a crow needs to worry about are raptors, and because of the raptor's keen eyesight ability, it's unlikely having a higher stealth stat would make much of a difference anyway. The crow's defense...
Yeah, I mean, owl is a raptor, right? That is their owl, eagle, and all that. They are raptors, right? That's the category they are with the claws and things. So of course, owl's gonna be dangerous, nocturnal predator as well. Yeah, so all these raptors are to crow just the way tigers and lions are to humans, I guess. Of course, they're gonna be OP and dangerous to them. I'm guessing crows have higher intelligence, so they're gonna be fine. I don't know.
And constitution stats are fairly average for a bird, which is to say not great. Birds have hollow bones, and their feathers offer fairly little in terms of defense. Feathers do absorb some blunt force damage, but when it comes to slashing and piercing damage, it's nearly useless. And because of their hollow bones, which make them more vulnerable to blunt force damage, the benefit there kind of cancels out as well. Snakes, cats, raccoons, raptors, and dogs all have a high chance of taking a crow out in one hit, so they cannot let their guard down when interacting with any damage dealer builds. Given that their playstyle necessitates taking some risk, pro players definitely wish they had more room for error. Thankfully, their next stat makes it pretty easy to avoid damage. The crow's...
that crow and cat thing, like, oh no, you gambled wrong, buddy. It just like caught the crow. That's insane. Fucking with cat is like too much, I think. I don't know. It's just, sometimes it works, sometimes it's really not gonna work, right? And the hollow bones things is always awesome, right? I've seen like in racing cars, like Ferraris and things, like modern racing cars, they take out chunks from like I don't know, window panels and something like that, right? Some of the door panels, even chassis if need be, right? Holes in them if the integrity of structure doesn't get ruined, just to make it lighter. Nature already does that with birds, with the hollow bones.
Mobility is a little above average for a mid-sized bird, which is to say excellent. Birds in general are just extremely agile, both on the ground and in the air, making them extremely hard to land an attack on if they see you coming. Some bird builds, like geese and junglefowl, require significant startup in order to get airborne, meaning that they can't rely on their flight to escape danger if the danger is already right in front of them. Crows are not one of these bird builds, and in contrast, the startup on their flight move has some shockingly broken frame data, and allows them to quickly and easily reposition themselves in basically any direction in 3D space almost instantly. This makes their ability to dodge attacks one of the best in the entire game, and makes what would normally be fairly dangerous positions, such as right next to a powerful predator, quite safe as long as the Corvid doesn't use any laggy moves. This synergizes well with the Corvid's combat moveset, as we'll discuss in a moment. Corvids are blessed with many high stats, but power is not one of them. Their ability to deal damage is one of the weakest in their weight class, as their only attack option is a simple pecking strike. This move has quick startup and very little end lag, but its damage is egregiously low. Simply attacking with this move will deal minimal damage to anything larger than an insect. Most players will be able to ignore this attack's damage. However, this doesn't mean a crow's attacks are useless, it just means they've got to be clever about how they use them. A well-placed peck can provoke an attack, and if you're able to move out of the way quick enough, the enraged player will end up being forced to lash out at whoever just happens to be nearby, and create an opening for the Corvid player to capture an objective, steal some loot, or escape trouble. It might seem...
I'm not gonna lie, that clip is insane, right? He literally does how one of your friends in school try to bully someone and just get out of the way. This is insane, man. Obviously do it for survival, but still. Every time you see intelligence like that, it's like always awesome.
Like a jank strategy, But really, this is the bread and butter of Corvid gameplay, and can lead to massive swings in advantage. The chance to afflict the Enrage status effect scales with the user's intelligence stat, so the reason this strategy works so well is that the Corvid's intelligence stat is ridiculously high for a non-primate build.
Alright, that doesn't even make sense, man, alright? I mean, I understand, like, you know, like hitting and running away, so, you know, they look around like, who, was that you? Cat is literally looking at the guy, clearly something else is attacking from behind, but I guess if you get angry type of way, right? Okay, you know, we are in like confrontation right now, and I'm getting pissed off. Now Crow just attacks you, you're pissed off because you're gonna attack the cat now. I'm surprised the cat didn't like attack something or behind. Like, what is that? What is attacking me? Or maybe like wait the option. If it attacks from behind, what if the other cat attacks it, right? So just like wait the option, attack the biggest predator it can think of. I don't know.
Corvids are tied with parrots for the highest intelligence stat in the entire avian faction. And in addition to enabling the Goading Strike moveset, having high intelligence grants Corvids access to a lot of other powerful techniques too, including the ability to use tools. Tool use is one of the most notoriously powerful abilities in the entire game. And in Crows, this is no less true. By using hook-shaped wooden sticks, Crows can score kills on grubs that are normally safe from everything except for woodpecker attacks. And given how many expensive niche perks woodpeckers need to spec into in order to perform these sorts of drilling attacks, the ability to bypass all of that investment while still gaining the same rewards is a huge boon to the Crows. But high intelligence has far more benefits than just allowing Crows to copy the success of hyper-specialized builds. Arguably the most important benefit is team tactics. This is what allows baboons to fight off lions, what allows ants to bring down tarantulas, and what allows wolves to prey upon bison. When Crows work together, they can capture territory and control points of interest that they'd otherwise be helpless to defend. They can even rescue each other from what would otherwise be guaranteed lethal attacks, using a tactic called mobbing. Mobbing is a strategy most commonly seen in birds,
Tactic known as mobbing. Okay, I didn't know that tactic, alright. The more you learn about crows, the more you think like, okay, humans are kind of similar, isn't it? They're very close to humans.
Of bombarding a single target with a barrage of both physical and sonic attacks. On their own, these would be easy to shrug off, but when you're getting pecked at and screeched at from all directions at once, it inflicts heavy physical and psychic damage. This is what allows social corvids, like magpies and crows, to successfully chase away predators several times their size. Ravens, on the other hand, tend not to really need the help as they're large enough to handle most opponents one-on-one, but can still team up in order to lock down a good source of carry-on.
Oh, so ravens are much bigger than crows. Alright. So you see big crow, that's probably a raven, is that it?
Alternatively, they may even ally themselves with wolf players, leading them to a carcass and letting them do the work fighting off their competition before sharing in the rewards. Anyway, that's a basic overview of the Corvid build. Now let's talk about their matchups. The Corvid matchup chart is heavily dependent on how effective their Goading Strike and mobbing techniques are against a given target. Luckily, because of how high the Corvid's intelligence stat is, the list of targets Goading Strike works against is quite long. It is best against builds with lower intelligence stats.
Allow it. It tried to use his intelligence strategy against a human, and he was like, nice try, buddy, nice try. Yeah, you're not even close to here. I like how you even think like I can even dupe some humans, why not?
Things like vultures, things like reptiles, and things like rodents. What's more, this technique even works on one of the Corvid's two primary threats, feline builds. Deadly as cats are, they're often quite reactive and
Yeah, basically they're batting right now. Okay, which cat wins? That's it. That's basically cat ring, that's what that is. Cat fighting.
Easily aggroed, so Goading Strike is the perfect tool to redirect their ferocity. This move is admittedly less effective against the Corvid's other main concern, raptors. However, thankfully the mobbing technique is quite effective against raptors, so for both of their main threats, the Crow players have options. The only builds these techniques aren't that effective against are other high intelligence builds, such as monkeys and parrots. Because of their extremely strong social bonding and top-tier intelligence stat, parrots are highly resistant to psychic damage and do not turn on each other easily. In fact, when pestered by a corvid, they are likely to defend each other fiercely using their own, more powerful beaks and louder shrieks. One-on-one, they're fairly evenly matched, so it tends to just come down to size. But in groups, corvids tend to have difficulty forcing parrots away from an objective. As for monkeys, their higher HP allows them to more easily ignore the pecking attacks of a crow, and they're used to getting their tails tugged all the time by their own party members, so a crow doing it is unlikely to provoke a punishable response. Crows and parrots have an interesting dynamic. I've said in previous videos that I believe parrots to be the more viable build. They have higher dexterity with their beaks, their sonic shriek attack is incredibly effective, they're more social, and arguably more intelligent even. And yet, of the two most intelligent bird builds, there's no denying that in the city biome, corvids are much more successful. I think the reason for this is that even though parrots are indeed more powerful on their own, and are better at using most tools than crows are better at using the most important tools.
I think it's similar to how it was with the Neanderthals, right? If you're like a bit stronger and just better, you're not in condition where you're backing against the wall and you have to adapt, right? You have to be more smarter in that way. I think crows have to do that compared to parrots. That's why crows are more successful, because they become more cunning. They have more street smarts than compared to parrots, I think. That's what happened.
Players. From provoking attacks and redirecting aggression, to using passing vehicles to deal damage for them and unlock high-value loot, corvids are the best of the best when it comes to using other build strengths to cover for their own shortcomings. And if the human build's dominance is any indication, co-opting the strengths of less intelligent builds is one of the strongest strategies you can possibly execute in the game. And it's for this reason that
I'm not gonna lie, the more I see about animal team-ups where small animal team up with a bigger one, I can see crows using bigger animals to do its job in the future, which might even be a threat for humans. Not really, because humans are insanely, let's just say, a-hole and aggressive. As soon as we realize it's a threat, we'll make sure it's not a threat. But still, crows are insanely, especially that thing about the guy's laces that he was pulling. The crow knows the guy is gonna tie his laces and just trying to take away a pen. So crows smart in every way, right? Crows knows there's gonna be a car rolling here. So if I throw it here, the car tire will, basically cross the thing. So, it can understand what humans are doing, what kind of tools humans are using in a simple way, but still.
corvids sit proudly in S tier. Speaking of builds with a high success rate within the city biome, another creature that thrives in cities is the centipede. With their quick, twitchy movement and flat shape, they have no trouble weaving through all of the nooks and crannies common in urban environments. This is the subject of my next video, which will be out on YouTube in a month or so. However, if you'd like to watch that video right now, you can access it a month in advance on Nebula.
Nope. Oh my god, no. I don't like bugs. Not that 100-leg, basically, not really 100 legs, but still 100-leg bug. Centipedes and things, millipedes, which is, I remember the Family Guy joke about millipede. Wait a minute, counts the leg. Oh, one of our imposter is a millipede. But okay. Yeah, are crows OP? I think they are, right? I think this is like one of the common knowledge thing, common enough that people already know crows are they don't know how OP they are though, compared to the others, right? If people don't know much about zoology or don't watch videos like TierZoo and Geographic, generally just people, if you ask them, they're like, yeah, crow smart, but how smart compared to what? They'll be surprised, like compared to a lot of animals, how smart they are, right? And all the things they can do. That is insanity. So yeah, crows things a lot. Parrots having higher intelligence, but obviously they don't have to use a lot of their intelligence. So crows are smarter because they know biome better than crows. Than parrots. Crows knows biome better than the parrots. So crows can be more effective in that way. Basically how Neanderthals was, right? They were like stronger and better version of us. But that is one of the reasons they went extinct, right? We had to adapt a lot. Homo sapiens. Yeah. Alright, well, that was our crows OP by the channel TierZoo. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the reaction, there's a link in the description. And yeah, I'll see you next time.